Hey guys, Micah from blackbearcustomkydex. I have a video for you today on a couple of sheaths that I just made for this Fallkniven A1. And these are going to Dwight out in Hawaii. So Dwight had originally ordered two of the same sheath, just in different color schemes, one for on duty, one for off duty. And the colors were black for on duty and this woodland camo for off duty. And the more we talked, the more he decided that he wanted a true, like, outdoors, survival type system that he could get a little more out of if he was out on a hike or in the woods or whatever. Um, so this is what we had come up with for that. The original idea was just to do, he wanted two simple sheaths with Techlock and Breakaway danglers. If you guys aren't already familiar with my Breakaway dangler system, it's basically the D-ring adapter for the for the dangler itself has its own sheath that I mount to the back of the knife sheath. So you have on the back of this, you'd have a little, dangler adapter shaped tube compartment, and you essentially plug your adapter into that like a seat belt. And with enough pressure, you can separate the two. So I call it breakaway dangler. Makes it easy to switch carry methods if you wanted to pull the dangler off of your belt. The loop would just stay on your belt, so you never have to undo your belt to get it off, and then you could switch to a different carry method. A lot of people want to carry with a tech lock as well, and so in this case, using a breakaway dangler as well as a tech lock, it can be done traditionally, but I would highly recommend you consider this instead of um, instead of doing an actual breakaway dangler adapter and a tech lock. The reason is this whole space where the tech lock is would be mostly occupied by the dangler, by the breakaway adapter. So the only way to get the tech lock up high into its usual usable position would be to essentially expand it out this way and have them overlapping, which then becomes really inconvenient. I mean, think about having your knife that far away from your body, especially if you plan on carrying it like scout position, something like that. It's just really not a good option. I would definitely not recommend it. And yeah, so one thing I've come up with to make it more possible, more convenient, is having this adapter fit into a tech lock. So you have a dangler, you have it set up ready to go as a dangler, but all you have to do to switch is just open your tech lock up, the loop stay on your belt, and then you also have your tech lock free and clear to carry it the way you want to carry it. If you do want to change and have it be a vertical or canted for a cross draw, you can do that. You just got to take out these two bottom screws. These two screws right here are actually to help retain this adapter and keep it from flopping around. So we have a stopper here at the bottom. This molded section of the adapter functions as a stopper at the top, but without anything to prevent it from rattling a little bit this way. You'd get a little bit of movement out of it. So with this set up the way it is, it's nice and tight. It's good and fit in there, so you don't have anything to worry about. All right, so now we've got good fit on this ballistic one-handed draw. A little bit of a click going back in. One thing that Dwight had actually addressed for this particular sheath, he almost didn't go with this kind of setup. He wanted to go with it angled with the handle upward, because he understands that having a rubberized handle like this Fallkniven A1 can mean that you would over time whittle the handle down because of the hot spot in traditional Kydex, like click retention. As you put it in, it has to pass through a tight spot so that once it's in the sheath, it doesn't fall back out. This is an absolutely valid concern. Everybody should know about that and be aware of it, especially if you're going to order from a Kydex sheath maker for any knife that has a rubberized handle. You can totally damage the handle if you don't do this right. So basically what you need to understand as a Kydex sheath maker is that for whatever reason, rubber sticks really aggressively to the smooth backside of a sheet of Kydex. So you can actually use that to your advantage and just mold lighter retention around your knife, because it's already going to have a greater level of retention because of the contact with that smooth Kydex surface. So if you use that to your advantage, and just mess around with the shape of the opening of the sheath, you can get it so that it's not aggressively pinching the handle of your knife and gives you a smooth draw, but it also does effectively retain your knife with roughly the same level of retention that you would get using a harder handle scale like a G10 or micarta. It just all depends on how you form it, how aggressively, and yeah, knowing what you're doing with it and spending a little time experimenting on some cheaper knives with rubber handles, like maybe get a couple more companions and work with those. Actually, the companion is not a good example because it has a little hard plastic ricasso. Maybe like a more Eldris or Cansbowl or some of those other ones in there. Bushcraft Black, you know, a little less expensive. These are an A1. You're looking at like anywhere from 125 to 200, depending on where you're getting it from, condition it's in, and all that. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend to any of you Kydex sheath makers, go experiment a little bit with some inexpensive knives with rubberized handles before you try working on anything like this, because you could very easily damage it. All right, so as I have it set up now, the retention I think is perfect. It's very, very good. There's no rattle, no play. Sufficiently retains the knife, but you also get that smooth ballistic one-handed draw. And the same is the case for this sheath here. So I'm not worried at all. I would absolutely carry this knife in this sheath. I would go jogging with it. I would go running with it, backpacking, hiking, whatever. And I have absolutely no worry of this thing falling out. If you are truly worried, if at any point you feel like this thing might fall out of your sheath, Dwight, you can always do something like run some elastic shock cord through the lanyard hole on your knife and loop it up over one of these holders here, either the Exotac or the AccuSharp holder, something like that, just to create that extra bit of retention. But I really don't think you'll need it, and this is, to me, this is just an awesome way to carry. So this sheath, I'll preface with that I am sending him a Tech Lock set up with a woodland camo dangler adapter in there. So Dwight, all you have to do to convert this to be the same setup as this is take the harness system off of the knife and then add your Tech Lock. You'll have to switch that dangler loop over, or if you don't care about the woodland camo color, you could install the Tech Lock on this knife and then just open up this Tech Lock and take that whole apparatus over and mount it into the Tech Lock on your woodland camo knife. So you got some options there. Okay, as far as the chest holster or chest sheath goes, what you're seeing on it here, we have a Sunto clipper. It is removable. It's on a floated plate with a little retention hole for the tooth that's on this compass. So you just kind of move it into place and you'll hear it click. And that is the tooth seating down into that hole. So you can see it's on there really good. I'm trying to move it around and it's not going. So you really have to like brace your thumb on the back of it, lift the front up, and then you can slide it off. All right, so that's the compass. Excellent compass. It is removable. For those of you who are wondering why it's removable, it's removable because there are metal components on the sheath, and you will not get an accurate reading if you just look at your compass. It's pretty much north is always going to be pointing toward the closest Chicago screw right there. It actually might change slightly depending on where the knife is in the sheath too, but I think right now it seems like it's just sticking to this guy right here. All right, down below you have an AccuSharp 030C sharpening rod. How I would use this guy is it has a little pocket clip on it that can be pulled off, but the more you pull it off, it's really cheap metal. It's going to flex and bend and eventually be unusable. So what I would recommend is, instead of pulling the full thing out, you can do one of two things. You can either unscrew this cap and take the rod out, or you could just extend the rod and work on it from here. You don't even have to take this chest harness off. You could actually, you know, depending on your skill with it. I probably wouldn't do this actually. I'm accident prone, so maybe I wouldn't go that route. But in any event, you can absolutely just pull that rod right out, and you'd be able to sharpen your knife without removing this whole apparatus. It's very, very easy to use. Up top on the spine of the knife, we have an Exotac Nano Striker XL. That's a great little fire starting device. You can see it is slightly angled upward. Like this side of it is slightly higher than this side. That is on purpose, and the reason is because I wanted to make sure that it clears the thumb ramp as you pull it out. You don't want to be constantly scraping against other components on the sheath. This is a really clever design by Exotac. It's got watertight compartments on it. One of them has a ferro rod inside it, and that ferro rod can be unscrewed and replaced once you use it up too, so you can just buy refills for the rod itself. And on the other side you have a watertight compartment with a striker in it. So this is a really, really awesome system that they've come up with. My favorite is still the fire rod, but that's probably just because I like striking a rod with the spine of my knife personally. But this, as far as having a striker and a ferro rod in one, I don't think you can get any better than this. I'm a real big fan of all of Exotac stuff. So Dwight, how I would recommend using this, it can go either way. It's a bi-directional draw. However, I would recommend putting the silver cap into the sheath like so. And the reason is because it's nice and snug in there. So as you push it this way, once that cap is flush with the end of the tube, you expose the end with texturing on it, which makes it really easy to grip, and then you can just kind of pull it out. So I would say the retention on it is just about perfect to do something like that. It's very easy to access, one-handed, all that good stuff. So all right, that's that. Of course, the draw, nice and smooth. I wouldn't call it ballistic because this is mounted on you, but it would be ballistic if it were free floating the way the other one were. It's very comfortable to use, and you know, like I said, I would absolutely trust this. I would go sprinting around, jumping off of things, and I don't think that knife is going anywhere. I really trust this kind of setup. Real quick, so I typically use 093 Kydex if I can, 0.093 inches thick. That's what this is, 093 black with 093 reinforcement plates. So this guy is really, really rugged. Woodland camo only comes in 0.080, so it's a little bit thinner. You'll probably feel a difference in the thickness if you're pressing against it. This one has just a little bit more flex to it on spots that are just the one layer exposed. Mostly up here by the handle is the only spot that you're going to find. But the back of it, I have a layer right here, 093 black, for not only a reinforcement plate, but it's the mounting plate for the compass like we talked about. And then the back of this, I'll just take this off. The back of it has a plate for the mounting system. You can see it's a little bit of a weird shaped plate. This thing is set up, it's a layer of 1/8 inch thick Kydex, so 0.125 inches, with a layer of 0.080 woodland camo on top of it, making it an extremely rugged, it's over 2/10 of an inch thick. It's a very rugged plate. So this thing being braced by 4 points of contact along the length of the sheath makes the whole sheath reinforced by this layer. So it is an exceptionally strong sheath. I know you're thinking, having something a little thicker puts the knife further from your body, and that might be an issue. Dwight, wait till you try this thing on, man. It is exceptionally comfortable. Part of the reason why that plate is not an issue is because it leaves you enough room behind the handle to get your hand in there and really grip the knife to have a safe and comfortable draw. Having it right up against your body makes it a little bit difficult to draw. Another thing is that this plate actually functions as a mounting plate for the Exotac as well, and because of how it's shaped, you can actually orient the sheath in multiple different angles, and you'll have to reconfigure the harness and take the screws off and stuff, which is a little bit of a pain in the butt, I'm not going to lie, but there's no way around that. But you can reorient it to have your knife be tip up. You can have it be set up on the left side. It is 100% ambidextrous, although you would obviously, if you're switching sides, you'd be hiding the compass a little bit, so got to be careful with that. But yeah, you could mount it, if you wanted to be able to reverse grip it or whatever, you could have it mounted like this and draw it in reverse grip, whatever you want to do. There are options with this thing. So definitely a really versatile setup. I'm a huge fan of the chest carry. Applications I think people might not think about when they think of the chest carry. I think everybody's first thought is it's divided into two categories. It's either going to be, wow, that's cool, or wow, that looks ridiculous. For the people that think it looks ridiculous, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think it's a little bit ridiculous to carry a knife around your chest if you're just walking around town or something. However, if you're out in the brush or something, and depending on what you're wearing, if you don't want to wear a belt, you absolutely could go with a baldric system or a chest carry system like this. It doesn't require that you're wearing something else to be able to function. Or if you are going to do some fly fishing, wading out into a stream, this will keep it out of the water. Things like that. Backpackers, hikers, you know that rucksacks often have like the hip pads. That gets in the way of, especially if you have a knife on a tech lock or something rigid on the belt. But even if you're dangling, that can sometimes get in the way and prevent the knife from being comfortable to carry, and obviously does require a belt too. So this is just a good option for those of you who are thinking about doing something like wearing a pack and carrying. You still want your knife on your person instead of mounted to your pack, so if you drop your pack, you can still have the knife on you as a separate entity. So anyway, I'm a huge fan. It's very, very comfortable way to carry. I think it looks really cool, and it's just very practical way to use your knife. So all right guys, that is what I have for you. Let me know what you think of these sheaths. Let me know what you think of Fallkniven in general, and in particular the A1 like you see here. I'm a huge fan. This is my knife. I had an F1 that I gave to a buddy of mine, so I'm looking to pick another one of those up at some point. But definitely give me your opinions on Fallkniven. What is your favorite model of Fallkniven and why? And tell me what you think of these sheaths, especially this chest harness system. Let me know what you guys think of chest carry. All right, folks, that is all I've got for you. So like, share, comment, subscribe, and thank you for sticking around with all my rambling. Tune in for the next one. God bless.